second one.
I think. Hello, everyone. It's so good to see you, and welcome to Lipedema Wellness Conversations with Gail. That would be me and friends. And my friend tonight is Sharon Tillery. Hi, Sharon.
Hi.
And, and back behind the stage before we came on live, Sharon's like, is this my second one or my third one that I've done? I think I've had Sharon on 4 times. I love having Sharon on. I learn something new every time I talk to you, Sharon. I do.
Oh, same
And
for me.
it's always amazing. So maybe we're with each other so much that we can't remember when we're not with each other. So, to the audience, I would like to say, please make sure that um, you know, put who you are, where you're from. Let us know you're here. We love being able to reach out and talk to you, greet you, throw your questions in anytime you would like to. And we can't maybe get to all questions, but we'd sure like to be able to say hi to you. Also, if you're watching this on the replay, know that you can always reach out to us at lipedema-simplified.org. You can find us that way. So far I see Stina Lewis. Hi, Stina.
Hi, Steve.
She's from Massachusetts, and we have a Facebook user from Michigan. Stormy lives in upstate New York.
Hi.
Speaking of storms, it's been snowing all day here in sunny Idaho.
Oh,
Yeah, we're,
we got
we're getting
rain.
our, yeah,
You
we're
got
getting our,
snow. We got rain.
yeah, we were. It said on there. It said on the weather that it was gonna start raining around noon, and it's been snowing since early this morning. So
Oh,
yeah, it's okay. We're used to it. We're used to it here. March is that way. You can get sunburnt and snow burnt.
in the same
Frostbite
month.
on the same day. Yeah, it's pretty much. And Stormy says in upstate New York she got 12 inches last week. So
Woo.
yeah. And then Kira's here from Baltimore. So it's always good to see you
Hi.
guys. I am so glad that you're here with us today, Sharon. Sharon and I have been working together on what we call a CSIG.
Mhm.
And a CSIG, CSIG stands for Coaching Special Interest Group. And we have been talking about mindfulness. We've been talking about the power of fasting for both nutritional purposes and for spiritual and mental purposes,
Mhm.
and mindfulness and those things. And what we have discovered is that while we were talking about that, we realized that there's more to just fasting that keeps us mindful. There are other things that we have to be mindful of. And I thought to myself, oh, like setting boundaries, like that's a good thing. We have to be mindful to set boundaries. And then
Mhm.
we have to honor those boundaries. And that's mindfulness. And so we thought, we might discuss what we can do um, in the mindfulness category, setting boundaries, and what that leads to. And so when I introduce Sharon, she's a holistic life coach. She works with other ladies in our community, other members of our community, and she would love to work with you, answer your questions if um, you would like to reach out to her. Here is her email. It's Sharon at lipedema-simplified.org. So I'm going to leave that up for right now. So Sharon, one of the things that we were talking about with setting boundaries is where it leads. So when you said, how do we know where our boundaries are? I mean, I could set a boundary like nobody's allowed in my bedroom after 8 o'clock. Okay. Eh. But it's like, that's just a limit, isn't it? Or that's just a rule. What is a boundary?
Boundaries are they are limits, rules, guidelines to what you, how you want people to respect your time, your space, and what your needs are. So when you're setting those boundaries, as you think about that for yourself, like, and you're setting those boundaries, it's why do I not want anyone in my room after 8 p.m.? Is it all lights out for me? Is it my quiet time? Is it my meditation time? Is it my bath time? Is it my book time? Is it, what is it that I want people to understand? Do not come in my room after 8 because I am going to be all about whatever it is that you want them to be. And then they have to respect, okay, this is Gail's time. 8 o'clock, don't call her. Don't come in her room. Don't call her name. Don't text her. Don't call her phone because 8 o'clock is her, whatever they want to put on it, whatever spin. It could be your me time. It could be your, your meditation. Like I said, it could, whatever it is that you want to do. You can be reading a book. You can just be staring out in the space, but that's your time to do what you want to do. And people have to respect that limitation, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that time or that guideline that you set for yourself. So it's all of that. It's a guideline, it's a limit, it's a rule. Number one rule, don't come to me after 8, right? So
Okay.
yeah, it's all of those things.
It's all those things. And so it's it would be kind of like a non-negotiable, right? Like something I won't negotiate. So it has to be pretty important
Yeah.
for me to set a boundary. Um, but there are other types of boundaries as well. So if I'm going to set a boundary and I'm going to say, okay, office hours end at 8 o'clock p.m., right? I mean, like, my office hours are over at 8 p.m. Don't come, don't don't text me, don't call me, don't, you can write me an email, but I don't have to respond. And I'm only saying this because sometimes a lot of us will be answering emails until we close our eyes. And so I'm trying to think, how do I set a boundary? I don't mind if my granddaughter comes in and sees me, or if my husband comes in and sees me, or my kid, um, and their wife, but a family member. But there are people like Chorus, or somebody else out and about. Hold on a minute, Phoenix. I'm gonna set a boundary. I'm on live and I can't have you yelling at me right now. Okay, it's okay, sweetie. Thank you. So when if I were to set that boundary, then it's up to me to keep it and
Yeah.
enforce it.
Yeah. Because, well, in a sense, you have to set boundaries for yourself as well as you set for other people. So you can't go past the boundary that you set for yourself, because then you're not giving yourself that same respect, right? You're not giving yourself that same time or that same importance. Like, where does the value fall for you when you're setting boundaries? And that's something that we should be clear on when we're setting boundaries. Like, there is a value in it, right? There is a value in you saying what you need, but at the same time, you have to value yourself within, yourself, to say, yeah, I'm going to stick to this because it's more beneficial to me than to anyone else. So if you don't stick to your boundaries, will anyone else really stick to your boundaries?
No, that's how I get walked on.
See, and that's not fair to you, right? That's
Right.
not fair to you because then you become frustrated, right? You become irritable, right?
Oh, yeah.
Almost sometimes even resentful because you're not understanding why someone is not respecting your boundaries.
Right. And then I'm not respecting them as well. And so if we are not used to actually like setting boundaries, because this is a new, well, I shouldn't say it's new, but it's been around quite a while, I guess, the term boundary. But for some of us, it might be a new practice. It might be a
Yeah.
new self awareness that we would like to be able to set some boundaries because
Mm-hmm.
we feel that either people are taking advantage of us, or
Mhm.
we might feel that our opinion isn't heard,
Mhm.
or that our needs aren't being met, or
Mhm.
whatever. Maybe we just need to maybe we want to start meditating and we haven't been able to find a time, or, there could be many things. Um, how do we even get started deciding what's important?
Well, the first thing I think is like you have to tune into your emotions because that plays a big part in setting boundaries. Tune into your thoughts, like what's your thought process at this point? Why do you feel the need within yourself to make a boundary or to come up with a boundary for whatever situation, whomever in your life, or for like work, or I don't know, extracurricular activities for kids, for your family life, like that work life balance or whatever, that situation or that looks like for you. It's like you have to, the first thing is just kind of tune into the emotion of why you're needing this boundary. And then tune into your thoughts as to say, okay, so what type of boundaries am I going to set for myself? And then understanding that there is value. Like, what's the value? What do you value? Let's put it that way. What do you value? And when you figure out what it is that you value, it kind of makes it easier to allow yourself to set boundaries, because when you value something, you hold it kind of sacred to your heart and to yourself, right? And you don't want anybody to overstep that, or harm that value that you have in any way. So I think those kind of three steps, like first, excuse me, you kind of, tune into your emotions, tune into your thoughts, and then to ask yourself, like, what's the value in this for me?
What's the value? So I would love to ask our audience, if you have a boundary that you have set and you have found that it serves you very well, go ahead and throw that in the comments in the chat. Because sometimes people don't even know how to get started, and so if you feel very proficient at setting your
Hmm.
boundaries, sticking to them, there's a level of motivation, and I think one of the things that you said is, if when we find the value in ourselves and and in that boundary and what it's going to give to you, you hold, like you said, things of value you hold close to your heart, um, then you're motivated
Hmm.
to keep that boundary. And this has a lot to do with standing up for ourselves, doesn't it?
Yeah, because that's another way that you can advocate for yourself. That's another form, of advocacy, where you're making sure that people, again, whomever, knows that I have to make, if I don't take a stand for myself, who else will? Nobody else is going to stand for you the way that you're going to stand for yourself. And then that turns into like choices, because everything is a choice, right? And when
Hmm.
we make choices, if we make a choice to be advocates for ourselves, if we make a choice to set those boundaries, to make sure that we're not being selfish, because it's not about being selfish. It's just about that self-care that we need, giving our, as we always say, giving ourselves grace to be able to listen to what we need, not just our bodies, but our emotions, our feelings, our intellect, like all those things wrapped up in one. We're able to say, like, this is a part of me. I'm going to be present, I'm being mindful, all that kind, everything comes in like full circle, right? But just, you have to make a choice. That's the first thing, actually. That's the first thing, to make that choice and to say, do I need a boundary? And then, okay, so what are the boundaries for? But then, a sense, like you said, that is looking out for ourselves and advocating for ourselves, the things that we need. Because if we don't understand what we need, then our needs are never going to be met, because we don't know what we need.
Right, right, right. And with that, some of these, sometimes a boundary can feel like a huge step, or it can seem like a small step. But once that small step is taken, you see the impact of it in your life. And
Yeah.
so, or it could be something that it might be a little scary to
Yeah.
set. And we just want to share a couple who've sent theirs in. Um, One is from Stina, and she says, "It's hard to set boundaries because I'm a generous person with my time." So many of us are, Stina.
Yeah.
Recently, I set a certain day of the week for a certain client because that client was changing the days too much. So, because the client kept readjusting and there was no regular schedule, she had to set, like, this is the day you can come. This is the
Yeah.
day that will connect, right? So it
Right.
wasn't right, because it could, that interferes with your life
Yeah.
if it keeps, now you're at their beck and call, or you're or you don't have time for other clients, or have to constantly shift your life around. And so, Stina, that's wonderful. I'm
Yes.
so glad.
And even though she saw like this client is being, even though the boundary was hard for her to set, she had to make that decision and that choice to say, listen, I'm going to have to set this as a specific day for this client, or else it's kind of getting out of hand. But even though it was hard for her, she still managed to set that boundary. So good job,
Yeah.
Stina.
Yeah, she said because she was holding time for that client all week,
All week. Yeah.
not knowing when that client was going to
Going to show up.
actually, right.
Yeah.
And so by setting, okay, one day, it gave Stina freedom to be involved with other clients and to be
Yeah.
involved with her life rather
It's a
than holding that time.
Yeah, it's a bit empowering too, because you're getting that client to understand, oh, she has boundaries. Like I have to, like getting them to think more about you as well as they're thinking about themselves. So yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And sometimes it's a service, like you say, it's a service to the client as well, or it's a service to those people who have to, um, who have, who you would expect to honor that
Yeah.
boundary.
Yeah.
So here's another one from Holly. She says, "I asked my retired mom to stop sending non-urgent texts and memes during my workday. I explained it's very distracting, but I want to leave that phone on just, to make sure for emergencies, and I think about I think about how sometimes those of us who are on a different schedule than other people, a different time zone, a different,
Mhm.
you know, work schedule or life schedule. And I think we kind of forget,
Yeah.
like, I'm
Sometimes.
retired, right? I'm retired. I'm,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm up late at night. I'm up early in the morning. I'm sending messages to everybody all the time. And now Holly here is making me realize, hmm, maybe I should, maybe I should just like back off a little bit and realize that my kids are all with me, right?
Maybe she's sleeping.
Just, thanks, Holly. Maybe I'm gonna need to, maybe I'm gonna need to ask my own kids if I need to set if they need to set a boundary on me. Yeah. Okay. Ding, 1 point for all those retired moms out there. Listen up.
Like an
That's
aha
great.
moment.
Ooh, yeah, yeah. But if my, but I do honor, I honor a a boundary with that, with my I don't have time for this right now, sweetheart. Okay, thank you. I have to honor my granddaughter's bedtime.
Okay.
So I do.
Yeah.
Bedtime is set, and I don't get to text mommy, my granddaughter's mommy, when they're going to bed.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because that'll be, so I have to honor. Oh, it's bedtime. So we all have these things where we have to honor people's space,
Yeah.
people's
Hmm.
time.
Hmm.
Our time is valuable. We only have so much of it, right? And we
Hmm.
all have things that we want to be with the people, we want to communicate with people, but we also still have to realize They have to have their time too.
Hmm.
And then let's see, here's another one. Um, and this one is from Gail Needham. I have just recently made changes of my association to better my outlook and cultivate new, healthier relationships. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes we have to do that.
We do, we do. We do. And it's important to kind of not look at the fear part of it, because it's scary, wanting to set boundaries and when wondering how people are going to feel about it, what they're going to say, are they going to do it, how are they going to react or respond to it. And it's like, no, take the fear out of it, and just rely on the fact that you are loved. These people, you're loved by your family, and they love you. They were going to respect what you're saying and understand why you need what you need. But again, our needs cannot be met unless we tell what that need is. So
Right.
yeah.
And there are not just boundaries around time.
No.
Sometimes there are boundaries around physical closeness. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
sometimes there's boundaries around food.
Oh yeah.
Um, some of us who work really hard to eat in a nutritional way, we
Hmm.
have to we have to set our boundary sometimes and ask our loving aunts or our loving um, children, please don't bring me candy at Easter time,
Right.
right? Because I'll eat it.
Yeah. And
I don't
Easter
want to
coming up
today, but
in a couple
I don't
weeks.
want right. I don't want to today, but I'll eat it then.
Yeah.
I
Right.
might not want
Right.
to. But and so yes, it might that it might be that thing where those feelings are like, oh, we have relatives who'll bring us wonderful baked goods or things like that, but it might not be something that we can eat comfortably and stay healthy, or we have
Yeah.
to pay the price later, or we might make that decision. I'll have it today, but I'm not gonna, only a little bit, and then I'm just gonna move on. All
Mhm.
those things, but those are also boundaries we set for ourselves
Yeah.
every day,
Personal. Personal.
right?
Yes. Those
Um,
personal boundaries are important, because when you're setting personal boundaries for yourself, it kind of actually, once you've made that boundary for yourself, like the personal boundaries, and you've actually executed it, it empowers you to make boundaries outside of that too. But it also allows you to make more boundaries, or like like personal boundaries, to kind of help you get over little humps, and then another one, and then another one, and then another one, because you can see, like, I really set that boundary, I stuck to it. It wasn't so hard, it wasn't that bad. But again, remembering that, you know it's a tiny little choice that you make. It's just one
it
little
is.
choice at a time, one little decision at a time. No, you don't have to do it big. Like you said, for Easter, you can make a boundary, like, I'm not gonna touch any specific candy. It's not all the candy. It doesn't have to be all the cake.
Yes,
But understanding, like you said, am I gonna, like, suffer the consequence of me eating this now and then not feeling well in my body later? Or am I gonna just, like, it's only one day. I can hold off for this one day, because it'll be over after Easter Monday, it's done, right? And then that you can feel better, and like I said, and empowered to know that whatever boundaries you set for yourself personally, just keep going, because all of these, things is just one day at a time,
right.
just one day.
Yeah, and Michelle said something like this. My boundaries are no sugars or flowers. If I have dinners with friends, they know, right?
Yeah.
And um and we have this thing in our family where we know that there are several of us who don't eat sugars and don't eat flowers as well. And so we always try to make sure there's something for other those people to eat, where the other people, they get what they eat. hardest thing for me is to set the boundary that I won't cook anything for the other people. I try to set that boundary within myself, and then I end up like, okay, fine. And I end up, it's like I end up fixing their food as well because I have not set that boundary solid. And I think for me, I like maybe the value of preparing foods for them outweighs in some way the value that I have of taking care of myself. So I might have to do
Mm-hmm.
some balancing with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. You like cooking for them?
I do.
And
I
you
do.
eat what? Do you eat what you cook for them?
I'm that grazer. I'm a taster. I'm a taster cook.
Yeah, you did
So I
say that.
taste cook, right? It's
Yeah.
very difficult. It's very difficult. And so yeah. So that's where I have to go,
Yeah.
what am I going to do here, I haven't found a solution
You
to
haven't.
that. And I have made all keto meals. With my family coming over, I've made all keto meals.
Well, there you go.
I have, not always, but
Not
I
all.
have done it.
Oh, okay.
But I've done it. And then someone will say, "Don't we get gravy?" I'm like, "Oh, I forgot gravy." Or don't we get, you know, something else? They'll always bring something else up, And then of course somebody started making a really, really not keto dessert a couple of holidays ago, and now everybody wants that dessert. And
Oh.
there's no way I could make it keto. I mean, there just isn't any way. You cannot. It has too much fruit in it, right?
Oh, okay.
To be keto.
Okay.
It just, but so I'll just have to, I just
I
have to
guess you
go.
have to. I guess you have to leave the room when they start all their gravy and their
Yeah,
dessert.
I'm fine without gravy. I just use broth, and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But it's just really crazy, and I can do fine without the dessert.
Dessert.
It's when I'm making it that is the
Oh,
hardest for me.
that's the hardest part because
Homemade,
you like to taste as you cook.
I do, and it's very difficult. But
Mm-hmm.
maybe I'm going to have to set tiny little boundaries. Maybe I have to do this. Well, I have to wear a face mask while I'm cooking.
Hmm.
That
Or
could be a distinction.
designate a taster.
They better, they're going to have to get in line. They're going to have to get in line for that one. I have a feeling. So anyway, oh my gosh. And like Michelle says, she always brings something that she can have. Um, and those are things that I do as well. My
Mm-hmm.
favorite thing to bring, literally my favorite thing to bring every single time, are deviled eggs.
Mm.
Everybody loves deviled eggs, or not, maybe not everybody. Many people love deviled
Mm-hmm.
eggs. I make
Mm-hmm.
my own mayonnaise. The eggs
Mm.
are from Egg Lady Beth up the road, so they're all free range, hanging out in her yard and her bushes.
Mm-hmm.
They're pasture raised.
Mm-hmm.
They're beautiful eggs, um, and so I make a really nice deviled egg,
Yeah.
and they go like that. And so I always make sure I have deviled eggs, right? So there's and basically all deviled eggs are is eggs with more eggs
Eggs.
and some oil, right? Because mayonnaise is oil and eggs, so with a little bit of vinegar and mustard in it. So they're really nice to be able to bring, and people don't make them as often as
Mm-hmm.
they used. I mean, it used to be every
Right.
time for a
Right.
family gathering there were eggs, and then I always bring a jar of dill pickles. My my love of dill pickles, good dill pickle, things
Mm-hmm.
like that, olives. I always try to bring all of the those simple foods that people
Mm-hmm.
enjoy,
Mm-hmm.
that that are they're whole foods and they're lovely.
Yeah.
Um, and then, like Gail Needham said, as a foodie, I'm a foodie too. I enjoy showing love through my cooking to my family, maybe centering the occasions around something else besides food. And that's really true. And
Hmm.
it's true. It's a wonderful, wonderful project. But man, is it hard. It's so hard it takes a lot of work and it takes buy-in. I mean, the whole family has to buy,
Yeah.
buy in that they are, oh, this isn't going to be a food activity.
Right. Game night. Game
you
night.
know, game night. Yeah. Um, yeah. So, and what happens at game night?
We just play games.
Is that all? There's no food?
Mm,
Wow.
there is snacks. There is no food. It's just
Yeah.
whatever. There is
They'd
no
be my jar of pickles.
yeah, your jar of pickles will
My
be
jar of
fine.
pickles and my can of olives. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. And we all have to change habits. But really, why do we get together? We get together to be with each other,
right.
right?
Yeah,
And we get together to be with each other. So
yeah,
I think Will has a good point there.
yeah.
I do want to reach out and just call out people's names before we move on. Um, I've been reaching out. We have Stina's here, and of course Stormy from upstate New York. Kira, Holly is from Western Pennsylvania. Kathleen's from Wisconsin. Cheryl's from Wisconsin. Julie Rosa, that wonderful, fascinating Julie Rosa. She writes from Camarillo, California. We're at 70 degrees. Little state.
Ooh. Mm.
Julie Stewart's here from North Carolina. Rita's here from Alberta. Hi. Rhonda Kane from Kansas. Kathy is from Penticton, British Columbia. Marilee's here from the Great Pacific Northwest. She's one of our ladies over here in Chehalis. Um, Michelle's from New Jersey. Let's see, who else do we have coming up here? Janet's from Manchester, UK, from Folkestone.
Ah,
Hi. And let's see. Um, and Sharon is from
Delaware.
Delaware. And Gail,
Yeah.
this Gail is from the Boise, Idaho area. I live in a little town named Kuna, as in tuna, or like Kuna Cutie, but we just call it Podunk, Idaho. Victoria Dent is here from Western New York. Oh, Gail's here. Gail Needham's here from Oklahoma. So we're from all over
All over. That's wonderful.
the, the
Yeah.
UK and North America, and it's so glad that everybody's here today. Before we close out, I would like to tell everyone about two things that we have going on. On Thursday, like the day after tomorrow, we have a free webinar, and it is going to be about managing pain with nutrition. It's on Thursday. It's with Siobhan Huggins. She's our research specialist for Lipedema Project. And you can see right there the, um, the link. However, I am going to put that link into the comments so that you can register for it. It's really important to register for these webinars, and I'll tell you why. If you register for this webinar, and let's say you can't make it, you'll get a replay. If you register for the webinar and you can make it, you get a replay so you can rewatch it again. Also, once you register for one of our webinars, you will get notification of another webinar, the next free webinar. And so go ahead and click on that link and register for it. That's on Thursday. Um, so Siobhan will be joined with a short presentation by Brian Hayward. He's our CBD specialist, and he'll talk a little bit about how CBD can help with pain. But if she's going to talk about using nutrition for pain management. And Gail Needham says, if I'm not able to make it, can it be watched later? Yes. Gail, you can. You will, but you won't be able to just go back to that link and click on it. You'll actually receive, once we get it edited, because a lot of times we like to put it in a nice, pretty package, like, oh, look, it has a title and everything, right? So that we send it to you as a nice, pretty package, and you'll get a link to the replay if you register. But if you don't register, we won't know that you want that replay link. So make sure that you register for that. The other thing that I want to talk to you guys about is, first of all, I'm going to put Sharon's email address in the comments, so you can just click on that and email her, or you can copy paste, so that you can email her with your questions about, she's a holistic life coach, so about life coaching things. And as you can tell, she's fairly knowledgeable. Fairly, very. I should say she's fairly knowledgeable. Love you, Sharon. And she works with our lipedema community all the time. So please reach out to her. But I want to talk to you about a gift. All you guys who have stayed here till the very end, you guys get a gift. It's called Emmy's Box of Hope. I'm going to drop it in the comments, and I'm going to pop it up here as well, um, because Emmy's Box of Hope is is a beautiful website that was put together by members of our community. We all got together. It was in our wisdom circles, and these members of the community said, "What is it that we would like to offer the community? What is it that the community needs?" Well, they need hope, right? We need hope. So this box of Emmy is a cute little adorable flying pig. We've been told our whole lives that pigs can't fly. Well, Emmy doesn't know that. Emmy knows she can fly, and that anything is possible, even with lipedema. And so she is our little um, everything is possible flying pig. And so she's our little mascot, cute little pink pig, and she brings us this box of hope. And what's inside of it? When you first get into this box of hope, you'll see 3 different tabs. You do have to register for it to get your link, but you'll find that it says learn, connect, and belong. And if you click on there, it will take you to all kinds of free resources. It'll take you to a page that has postcards. Do your legs look like this? And a QR code, right? Do your patient's legs look like that? That is for your clinicians. So you can print those out and you can give them to your clinicians. You can give these to your friends or relatives for them to learn more about lipedema. I think those are 2 of the best gifts that we can give our community. But the whole thing, all full of Emmy's Box of Hope, you will find all kinds of resources. And so please make sure when you click on the link I put in the comments, what it will say is get your free resources here. Click on that link, and you'll give your you'll click on it, you put your email in there, and pop up, and you will have a bunch of rabbit holes to go down. I'll tell you, there's so much information there. It was developed by 5 of our community members. One of them, at least, is on this call right now. Her name is Julie Stewart. Blanche Pepitone, who you have probably seen around. Jerry Hamill. Um, Judy Green. And I am missing one, I know. I know I'm missing one. Who else is it? Could Julie pop in there who the other one was? I feel so bad that I'm missing one. Blanche, Julie, Jerry, Judy, Oh, and Deborah Jersick. Oh, how could I forget Deborah? Deborah's the artist. She's drawn all the little sketches in there. Pretty powerful. And that she did the joke book. I can't believe I forgot Deborah. Oh, Deborah, I'm so sorry. Thank you, Julie, for that. But anyway, it's a gift made from our community to our community. So please make sure that you check that out. Okay, Sharon. Every time before I wrap up, I always ask my guest if there is one message that you would like to see echoed around the world. What would it be?
I would say, because we're talking about boundaries today, faith over fear. So have faith in yourself to be able to set those boundaries and don't fear the kickback or the response. You have to stand up for yourself and be your own advocate. So faith over fear.
Faith over fear. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Sharon.
You're
And with that,
welcome.
thank you. If that, everybody have a good night, and I'll talk